So I want to share with you a story that I'm a little embarrassed to tell. And the funny thing is that in me being open and vulnerable about this, it's a story about me not being open and vulnerable at all. So let me just jump right into it. About 6 months ago, I went to New York for a seminar. My wife had gifted me a seminar she had taken and she loved it. It was a 3-day workshop kind of thing. And it was a coach, a very powerful, great coach, and there was a bunch of us participating. And so, first time in New York, I was really excited. It was just me. And on the first day, I was a little anxious. On the first day, I step into the room, and there's about 25 people, and they're already congregated in little groups. And I see my name tag where I'm supposed to sit on the table. And before I sit down, there's a gentleman sitting right beside me, and he's got a really colorful Hawaiian type shirt. And he gets up and he shakes my hand. He shows me all around where the food is, the washrooms, and just blah, blah, blah. And I thought he worked there, but he was just a participant. And I thought, cool, the guy's very open, gregarious. I'm a little more reserved when meeting people, so it was a good balance, I guess. And then it started. I have to tell you, when I looked around and I started to hear people's stories, I felt like an imposter. These were people who had done well, top in the industry, ambitious, like great companies, et cetera, et cetera. And then there was me. Now, just park that for a moment because it's not about me, sort of is. But then in the end, I just want to share this because I think this is going to be important for some of you watching this. So we have the first day, the second day, and on day 3, early in the morning, there is a Hawaiian shirt guy. I'll call him Magnum. Magnum, we all got the sense. Magnum was very gregarious, but there was a sense, and I picked it up, and I think everyone picked it up, that there was something just not fitting. There was something not quite right. There was an incongruence, if you will. And he had said something to the coach as we were discussing something, and the coach picked up on it too. He was very astute. And so he called up Magnum to the front. There was a chair and a microphone. And he brought him up, and you can tell he was hesitant. Magnum was a little hesitant. And the coach said, okay, I want you to share with everyone here something you don't want them to know. I know, right? And so Magnum kind of had his head down for a moment, a little sheepish, and he said something like, my mom pays my phone bill. And this man was in his early 40s. And the coach said, okay, what else? What else? And Magnum just started to share. There was 12 what else's, I think. And the room was whisper quiet. You could hear the proverbial pin drop in that room. Everyone was focused on Magnum. And he just shared all these things that you could see maybe were hidden in the corner, the darkness of shame. But as he was sharing more and more, you could just see him his shoulders going back a little bit. He was lighting up a lot more. You could feel the tension just easing away from him. There was still some embarrassment, but it was just making him lighter as he shared more in this. And once he was done, the coach looked at all of us and said, who here feels closer to him now that he's shared this? And all of our hands shot up. I completely felt much closer to him. And why is that? Why did we feel that closeness? Why do we feel close to someone who's open with us, even about things that might be shameful? It's because they're showing to us that they feel safe, that they feel in this room, in this space, in this container, whatever it is, online, in person, whatever it is, on the phone, there's safety. And when people open up like that, we feel there's like a reciprocity that, wow, what a trust for someone to open up like that, especially about things that could be considered shameful. They say once you bring shame, once you put things out into the light, the shame just falls off, dissipates. And when this guy sat down, there was a big hug, like, bring it in, bro. When this guy sat down, you could just feel like this weight off his shoulders. And for the rest of the day, the rest of the time we were there, he played full out differently. He wasn't trying to put a facade of any kind on. He just felt himself, and he was able to attack the work in a more meaningful way. And I want to use the example of me now, which was the opposite, the complete opposite. And this is where I have felt shame around this. Like I said, I felt a little bit of imposter, and who am I to be here? And I shouldn't be here. This is not for me. Immediately, I played small. And I made a decision, probably more unconscious than conscious, that I felt unsafe in this room. I had all this stuff coming up from bullying, being bullied, and this and that, all the stories, all the ego. I was inundated, and all of a sudden it was like DEFCON, all the barriers came up, it was like the moat with the alligators. It was the gates shutting, and I completely distanced myself from everyone. And I allowed my ego and the old stories to take control, take the steering wheel. And I'll tell you, it was hard to be there. I didn't want to be there. As soon as lunch came, I was gone. As soon as the breaks came, I was gone. Because I wouldn't allow myself to step into that space of vulnerability like Magnum did. Because my ego was telling me these people are unsafe. Also, you need to know it all. Who are these people? Because now I had to defend myself. And that's what ego does. Ego separates yourself from others. Ego separates from creator, from universe. Ego does that. It's a sense of separation. And that's what I did. I was so isolated because my ego did exactly what it was meant to do, to keep me separate. And I didn't take anything in because I was too busy putting everything out, keeping everything away from me. Because my wound, everything was just holding me in that space, and I wouldn't allow anyone in it. And that was my loss. And in a way, people didn't get to experience me in my fullness because I'd shrunk down and retracted so small that there was no space. The gulf was too big. No bridge was long enough to put these two together. And when I left there, actually there was a point someone had said when I came back from break, goes, "You're the quietest person here." And I did open up a little bit and explain why, but then I immediately shut down. That's all I would give. And, there was also a point where both the coach and his wife, who was also a very powerful coach, had said to me on separate days at separate points, said, "Wow, you've got a quiet power about you. You're a thinker." And I actually said, "No, I'm actually an overthinker." And it's true. I do have a quiet power. I know I do. And I just didn't allow myself to be open and vulnerable because I thought I was going to get hurt. And there was no indication of that. That was just old story talking. And I share all this because I did have shame after. I felt guilty. I felt like it was a waste. I felt like I let my wife down. I let everyone down. I let myself down. And it just showed to me that the work wasn't so much what we were doing in the hotel boardroom. The work was here. And giving space and grace and love to myself to see that I still have wounds. I still have issues that I need to challenge, stories I need to butt up against and to say, hey, this is not true. And I share this with you because we all have these stories. We all fall into a default of what we think we are or how we think other people think we should be. And that's not true. We can be open, we can be vulnerable. Doesn't mean you just spit out anything and everything, right? There's some self-containment. But when we can share with others and feel safe, the connection that you create is beautiful. And even if right now for yourself, it's with you and just allowing yourself to sit with that stuff, for it to come up. And that's what I did on those 3 nights when I go back to my hotel after getting some dinner. I'd say, what is the real story here? And I challenged myself, and I'm okay with it now. The fact that I can share this with you right now and not feel shame or anything like that. I've come to a place of love and self-kindness, self-forgiveness around that. And I just extend that to you. Where are you holding on to something that's not serving you? Where are you holding on to a story that is just making you feel small, that's reducing you and contracting you? Because we're here to play full out in our true selves. Just like Magnum did. After he shed the facades and the masks, he was so free and open. And I'm telling you, when you are in that moment of just closing the doors, nothing comes in. You may not get hurt, but also love doesn't come in, joy doesn't come in, contentment doesn't come in, friendship doesn't come in. When you block everything, you block everything. So the risk is you could get hurt. When you open up, you could get hurt. But also you can find connection, joy, so many beautiful things. So don't shut down. It didn't serve me, but I learned the lessons. And so I share this with you. Take it for what it's worth. Much love. See ya.